negative. This is what is running in all our minds. Dear friends, to give you more information on this, we have two doctors who are also our bride parents to let you know that Corona is nothing to be fearful, but let's take it more optimistically. Let me introduce Dr. Arun, who is an assistant professor, Department of Pulmonary Medicine in Bangalore Medical College and Research Institute, also working in Victoria Hospital in the intensive care unit treating the COVID-19 patients. I also introduce one more doctor, Madhu, who is also an assistant professor, Department of Anesthesiology, working at Bangalore Medical College Research and Institute, also working at Victoria Hospital Intensive Care Unit, treating the COVID-19 patients. I heartily welcome both of you to give us an insight about COVID-19.
So good afternoon, sir. Welcome you both. And we're really proud to have you both parents online and speaking on the current pandemic situation, COVID-19.
Thank you. Thank you for getting us online.
Yes, sir. So yes, ma'am. Dr. Madhu, if you could share me some experiences of yours treating the COVID patients currently, what do you feel about it?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody here. We are involved in the treatment of patients since many years. But this COVID-19 has set a different scenario because of its high infectivity rate. Before going to treatment of the patients or near them, we have to wear PPE. What we call it as PPE is like personal protective equipment, which consists of 3 layers of clothing. It causes its own problems like fogging, restricted movements, difficulty in speaking or interacting with the patients. So it causes difficulty in doing some procedures which has to be done in the ICU or in the wards, and bringing down our efficiency and skills. And also it causes exhaustion when we have to wear it for prolonged period. And when it comes to the patient care, we cannot treat them or interact with them like before, like normally we were doing when there was no pandemic. They will not be able to see our face or our compassionate feelings towards them. It looks as if some talking, walking robots are treating them. That's how it feels when from the patient's perspective. And when it comes to our responsibility or duty, it causes its own practical problems, as I told you.
Yes, ma'am. So you mean to tell that earlier, yes, you were having a lot of compassionate towards the patients. The
No,
physical, yes, ma'am.
earlier also, now also we are compassionate towards the patient, but those things are not seen because of the entire body is covered with the PPE.
The
Correct.
human touch is lost. What I feel is the interaction or the if not the physical interaction, it's the emotional connect is lost between the patient and the doctor, because we are
Correct,
not
sir.
able to see each other. We are not to show that compassion to them or the care that we want to give to them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So basically, this has created a lot of panic, throughout the whole world, right from a toddler till the senior citizen. So, sir, I would want to first ask you, what is corona? What are its symptoms?
Okay. Corona is like any other infectious disease which is communicable. Here, I am stressing on communicable because it is more easily spread than many other infectious diseases we already have in the world. And corona being a viral disease, these viruses are more easily spread than a bacterial disease. And we call it as something in scientific terms as R naught. R naught is if one person is having illness, how many persons more he can spread. That is also very high in corona. And second one is if a patient is ill with any disease, he usually tends to isolate himself, or he would like to stay inside, or he would like to stay away from people. But in corona, what happens? The patient may himself be not having any symptoms at all. He's not feeling that weakness. He's not feeling that illness. So he may roam around and unknowingly or without his knowledge, he may be spreading the disease. These are some of the things which are making it more difficult to contain the illness. And symptoms, like you said, corona affects almost all the systems in the body, but mostly they present with fever, like common cold-like symptoms, running nose, sore throat, some dry cough, generalized weakness, body aches. So these are the very common symptoms that can happen with corona, but it can present in varied ways.
Mhm. Okay, sir. So, what immediate precaution should the patient take if he or she is tested positive?
Okay, so there are two aspects to this. One is if the patient is suspicious of corona, there are different set of precautions to be taken. If a person is already tested positive, there is a different set of prevention. So I will start with if you are suspecting somebody of corona, like we already have so many IEC activities going on everywhere. We have been told one is isolate the person if you are suspecting, use maximum social distancing, use face masks, frequent hand sanitization. If you are suspecting one person of COVID, see that only one other person is taking care of the needs of that person. So for example, in a house, you have a person who is suspicion of COVID. So please put him in one room where if possible, has a attached bathroom, and only one person will cater his needs. Water, food will be supplied to him by one person till we confirm that it is positive. Now you have a patient who is already tested positive, then there are different set of precautions.
Okay, sir. So the next move, like if they are positive, can they quarantine themselves at home? Or do you think is it necessary for them to go to the hospital and get admitted?
Okay. Now there are guidelines for patients who have turned positive. Initially, these guidelines for self-isolation or home quarantine was there for only healthcare professionals. But now the guidelines have come out for if somebody wants to quarantine themselves at home. So how it works is first a patient or a person is tested positive for corona. Then an initial evaluation is done at a healthcare facility. So to see if he has any system involvement signs. If already has some pre-existing illnesses like diabetes, hypertension, or if he is elderly in age, if his symptoms are already affecting any systems are checked. If once all these are clear that the patient is younger, not having any pre-existing illness, none of the systems are showing obvious signs of involvement, such patients can isolate themselves in the home. But there are guidelines at home. What are they supposed to do? What are they supposed to monitor if they have to report to an hospital? These guidelines are already available. Yes, if a person tests positive, he can isolate himself at home.
Okay. So you mean to tell that he can take the necessary treatment at home also?
Yes, he can do that, provided a preliminary mild minimum checkup is done so that he is fit to be taken care at home.
Okay. Okay, sir. So apart from, as you said, the medical conditions need not to be being diabetic, hypertensive, or bronchitis, wheezing, asthma, etc. So these kind of people definitely need hospital.
Yes, most of the patients who are having pre-existing illness would require hospitalization for observation. I'm not saying they may have a severe illness, but they need observation, which is better equipped at an hospital.
Okay, sir. Ma'am, when it comes to you now, for example, as sir told, so if a person is tested positive and he undergoes a treatment after the doctor's instructions, and then again he tests negative after the treatment, I need to tell. So does it mean that he never can be positive again?
Actually, once if the patient is tested positive and then again he is tested negative, it depends on his viral load. He can be negative at when his viral load is less, and once
Okay.
if viral load increases in his body, again he can become positive.
Okay. Okay. So how do you think he can avoid this viral load once he's tested positive and again to have the precautions for a person who's already tested positive for once?
There are various factors in this. There are two parts of this question. One is a person tested negative once, and can he be tested again positive?
Yes, sir.
In that, if you are talking of reinfection or reactivation, there are two
Correct.
parts to it. One
Yes,
is reinfection is he has again got an infection again. Reactivation is he must have had infection at a very low level where it was not detectable and it becomes detectable again. We have data showing both these possibilities. one, there are data coming from various other countries which says initially the viral loads go down so low that they are not detectable, and they may become detectable at some other point of time you do the test again. Or there may be viruses which are dead, which are excreted from the body, coming positive in the tests. So that's why the current guideline has changed, saying you don't have to test when you are discharging the patient, because they have done extensive studies. After 10 to 12 days, even if you test them with RT-PCR, the virus may be present in the secretions. But if you try to grow them in a laboratory, like we call it as culture, most of the cultures are negative. That means whatever viral shedding was happening was all of the dead virus. Regarding reinfection, there is data saying that the antibodies which prevent you from getting reinfected are there at least for 2 to 3 months. After that, whether somebody gets reinfected or not, this data is not clear yet.
Okay, sir. Okay. So you mean to tell that there are some researchers happening on this?
Yes, it's an ongoing evolution of data, because this is very young disease, less than 1 year old. So we are, as and when we get the information, we will update in the public domain.
Okay, sir. And one more thing I would know, ma'am, like what kind of routine you think, should be for children while being at home to maintain their physical health as well as mental alertness?
Already the online classes are going on. So
Yes.
along with that, everybody needs physical activity, whether they are kids or adults. So minimum 1 hour of physical activity is required for the kids. Along with that, 30 minutes of this one physical activity for the adults. Along with this physical activity, we can involve them in household chores, depending upon their age. We can give some household work to them to do and finish it, so that they will be occupied in that. Or we can cultivate good hobbies like drawing, painting, or singing, or dancing. Such things can be motivated, and so that will bring emotional well-being, also physical well-being, and this one their time also will be going on without they being get bored.
So, ma'am, when you say that physical well-being, what measures do we need to take to ensure good health for children?
One is avoid good healthy diet,
Okay.
which contains lot of vegetables, fruits, which has minerals and vitamins, and avoid junk food, and avoid physical inactivity like watching the screen, sitting at one place for hours together. So
Okay.
motivate them to be mobile inside the house, or just whatever the place available around the house, or if you are staying in an apartment, keeping the social distancing and wearing the mask, you can allow them to do some cycling or some playing with the proper precautions.
Okay. Ma'am, in that case, how can we prevent the spreading of infection in the family when it comes to senior citizens or for kids?
Most of the times we allow the kids to go out and play to avoid them getting bored inside the house. That is the most of the times they act like a carriers. So what we have to do is once they come from playing, we have to strictly tell them to sanitize their hand, and while going to wear the masks, and keep social distancing while playing also, and to keep distancing within the elderly people who are there at home.
Okay, ma'am. So children allowed to play inside their own boundaries, you mean to tell?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is
So,
restriction for everybody, include whether they are adults or elderly or kids. During this pandemic, there is restriction for the movements and the time, particular this one games for everybody.
correct, ma'am. So I also want to ask you, like, as teachers, how can we help our students combat the COVID situation in a positive manner? What are the key points we need to focus upon this situation?
Okay, one is they will be already knowing few points regarding COVID-19, some sort of infection is going on, depending upon their age. They will have a basic this one knowledge. So one thing is we have to keep on telling the this one social distancing, wearing mask, and hand sanitization methods. and to avoid continuously talking about the same thing or ill effects of the disease, and motivate them in certain like physical, I mean in other hobbies, like whether it is physical or other entertainments, and keep them occupied in a positive way.
Okay, ma'am. So you mean to tell that during the online classes also teachers need to giving this awareness for children?
Um,
I would say most of the information or the news that is spread is mostly negative. So I wish in your classes you talk something positive about illness, positive about prevention of illness, positive about how to take care of people who are ill.
Correct, sir.
How do you have to show compassion? How do you have to show how to accept people who are gotten infected or who are in the state of disease or illness? Not only about corona. In general, if we speak, it should not be victimized. Any illness should not be victimized. Say if somebody contacts corona, what the current situation is, it's like blaming the person who has got infected. So these things can be corrected through your online classes. When you are talking to them, say anybody can to get infected. By chance, if you get infected, so what are we supposed to do? Or if somebody, your neighbor, your friend, your somebody has got infected, so how do you take care of them? You have to frequently talk to them, tell them it's okay, you will get well. It's okay, many have gotten well. It's okay that you have got it from somewhere. It doesn't matter. So these are the things I think in online classes you can enforce the children. Otherwise, looking at everybody around, they think getting corona itself is a crime. And if somebody has gotten corona, then it is much more bigger crime. So that can be elevated when you are talking in the online classes.
So keeping our children optimistic towards things and not looking it
Exactly.
towards a pessimistic thing is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. So when we come to hand sanitizing, ma'am, how helpful are hand sanitizers? Or do you think does it also have its own ill effects?
Okay, so definitely we have been hearing a lot about hand sanitization, frequent hand washing, and there are a lot of sanitizers or chemicals available in the market.
Yes, sir.
I would tell you first thing is why do you need to hand sanitize? You need to hand sanitize when you touch something which is foreign, or for example, which is not, you are in a environment where if there is a possibility of an infectious material having fallen on that surface, you touch it and then you need to clean your hands or sanitize your hands. So avoid touching unnecessarily things.
Yes.
That itself reduces how frequently you need to hand sanitize. Okay, second one is if you hand sanitize, mainly it is about touching your face, nose and mouth or your eyes. That is where the entry points are, most common entry points are. So when you
Yes.
are definitely about to touch your eyes, nose or mouth, you need to hand sanitize. That is, there is no excuse for that, you have to do that.
Yes.
Then any sanitizer you use, usually it causes dryness. It washes away all the normal commensals on the skin. It can cause what you call secondary infections with fungal infections. So if you do very frequent, very repeated kind of hand washing, there are side effects. But first thing is make sure why you are washing it. You have to know the concept of hand sanitization, why you are doing it and when you have to do it. So if you
Okay, sir.
follow these simple things, then that.
Okay, sir. So how about using masks? How frequently do we have to use a mask? And how safe is it to use the mask for a longer period of time? This is what I.
you have to wear mask, especially when you are interacting with the people. It depends on what type of mask you are using. One is like cotton masks, which are homemade or you have brought it, or surgical mask, or a mask with a respirator, N95 mask. There are variety of masks. So for routine wearing, we are using either cloth mask or surgical mask we are wearing. So it depends on like how long you have to wear. Depends on how frequently you are getting. The mask is getting moist. So if once it becomes moist because of breathing, the holes will become bigger, and it can be a entry port for the virus. So once it becomes moist, you have to change it or keep it for drying, or
Yes, sir.
take it for washing. And with the normal mask, you can wear up to 6 to 8 hours. The mask with the respirators can be worn for longer duration of time. And
Okay.
one thing you should make sure that you are not touching, once you have gone out wearing the mask and you are coming and touching the inner surface and outer surface is not
Yes.
allowed, because the virus, whatever will get deposited on the outer surface, we have to take it in a proper method and have to hang it in a proper place. While wearing also, you are not supposed to touch the outer surface and then wear it. It has to be, the method has to be taught properly.
Okay. So the inner surface and the outer surface of the mask should not be also touched. Only the
Yes,
sides of the mask should be touched.
touched.
Only
Yes.
because even after a person uses it, after going outside and coming in, if they wash it, ma'am, can that be reusable?
There are certain reusable masks depending upon again what type of mask they are using.
Okay. So if it is a cotton mask, people can also wash it and use it.
Yes, yes, definitely.
That's what you're saying. So what are few home remedies which will help as immunity boosters, especially in children?
Okay, so coming to remedies, in general terms, I would say whatever we are eating itself is remedy, especially coming to Indian food and South Indian food. Most of the items that we use themselves are all medicines.
Yes.
Going by Ayurveda or by Ayush, you see most of the medicines that they use are from either clove or whatever spices that we use, most of them are there. Apart from that, like Madhu was earlier pointing out, balanced diet is more important. You use vegetables, fruits, so that there are antioxidants, there is fiber in the food, there are vitamins, multivitamins, and some amount of sunlight is absolutely required for children. We have seen vitamin D as one of the important factors in various illnesses, not only COVID, in other illnesses also. We have seen in overall Indian population, the vitamin D levels are very less. Though there are calcium available in various food ingredients, vitamin D, the main source is sunlight.
Yes.
Or we have supplemental vitamin D also available. Second one is vitamin C. Vitamin C is, we say, a bachelor's vitamin, because most bachelors are deficient with vitamin C. That is because probably they don't use citrus fruits or citrus items like they use in the houses. Lemon or even tamarind. Other things are very high sources of vitamin C, which is home remedy again. And if not available at home, or if there is the absolute deficiencies, then it can be supplemented by oral supplementation or injections. Vitamin C again. And third one is zinc. Zinc again is available in micronutrient form in various vegetables and various cereals and pulses. Only zinc, when it is very low in content, we use oral supplementation in terms of syrups or tablets. So I would say a balanced Indian diet or a South Indian diet would suffice all the vitamins and minerals that are actually required. A little bit of sunlight is one which I would like to add on. Otherwise, in this immunity boosters, what we have found is vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc are the ones which are usually good immune boosters.
So you mean to tell that let's avoid the outside food and let's have a good, healthy home food.
Yes. If not, let us not break it down to outside and inside food. Let us say a healthy diet. Junks are to be avoided. Okay, because there may be people who may be running very good restaurants with very good nutritious food. So I don't want to put my foot into that and say outside, inside. It's a balanced diet that you need to take care of.
Okay, sir. So do you also suggest any, as you told, vitamin C right now plays a very important role in this situation, and zinc. Do you suggest any medication that the senior citizens can take, or any normal human being can take, to avoid as immunity boosters?
Okay.
I mean, to
like
gain
I
as
said,
immunity boosters.
vitamin C is mostly available in all our citrus fruits and supplements, food supplements that we are using. Otherwise, vitamin C chewable tablets are available. Since it being a water-soluble vitamin, there is no harm in taking in excess also. But other vitamins which are fat-soluble, you need to cautiously manage them. Maybe even vitamin D needs to be cautiously taken. It's a fat-soluble vitamin, so you need to know the baseline levels and all. So vitamin C, yes. Zinc also, there are adverse effects of zinc overdosing also. So there is no out of the what you call over the counter prescription of zinc also. You cannot use it like any other medication. So I would say it's better be under prescription, under observation. Okay. Otherwise, whatever food supplements we get, all these vitamins, minerals, those are absolutely sufficient.
Okay. So I just want to ask you, I don't know how early am I to ask this question, but then what, according to you, do you gauge to have a scenario after 6 months? Like can schools, colleges run normally once there is a slowdown of number of cases?
Okay. Being very optimistic, and if I have a choice, after 6 months, it should be all normal. Hope
Good,
so.
good.
But practically speaking, it may not be so also, because unless we have a definitive vaccine or a definitive treatment for this COVID,
Yes, sir.
the social distancing or preventive measures like masks and hand sanitization may be the new norms.
Yes, sir.
Something we have to adapt to live with. There was a suggestion in between also run schools to be run on alternate days or colleges to be run on certain hours of the day.
Yes.
And in fact, in our medical group discussions, we had a suggestion saying you have 30 students in a classroom. So
Yes.
what you can do is 10 students come on first day, 10 on the second day, 10 on the third day. And they repeat on the fourth, fifth, and sixth day. So all the students will have 2 days of classes, but
Okay.
you are only attending 1/3 of your class. So there will be enough space for social distancing. Schools run 6 days a week, but with 1/3 of their strength.
Strength.
So that may be a new normal, something like that in consensus with all technical experts may come in future if we cannot run it in next 6 months. Something like that might come. But we are hopeful that by January next year, we may get some answer regarding a definitive treatment or a vaccine, something like that. And hopefully we will all be leading our normal life as before.
Hopefully, sir. Looking for it positively. I would also want to ask one more question, sir. Like, how can parents ensure that their children can lead a balanced life again? It's very close to what I had asked prior, but then for parents, what you would like to say?
Yes. One is already any parent in whichever field they are already in a lot of stress, whether it is, I would say, start with economical, then it is physical and mental stress. So it is likely that children are not so much into emotional, physical, or any other disturbances as yet. So they will be in their own world. So they expect you to give the same attention or more because they are always more there with you in a longer period of time than compared to earlier. And it becomes natural that we lose our temper, we lose our attention towards them because we are already stressed. So I would say that attention towards the children may be needed a little bit more. So we have to calm down or we have to separate our other tensions with taking care of the children. So that would be the first thing that I would say. Second one is regarding children. Yes, now they have more time. Probably classes are running half the duration compared to physically when they were going to school. So you have to plan out the other half of the day, how they are to be engaged. For example, screen time, you already have used half of your screen time in your classes. So the other half of the screen time should be divided between television and online content and gaming. So you restrict the time, say another 2 hours in a day, you are going to do whatever you want and whenever you want, not more than that.
Yes.
Something like that has to be streamlined.
Yes.
And like again, I would emphasize on what Madhu said. Physical activity is absolutely required in whatever available limitation or space that you have, your independent house or an apartment, or you have a compound inside. A physical activity in whatever form is required for the children also. So they have to move around, they have to socialize, or they have to do some physical activity. Madhu had a wonderful suggestion. She does that at home also, that she engages the children in household work, depending on their age, whatever they can help out, it becomes an help, and they are not really getting bored.
Yes.
So 3 components: parents themselves, they children's keep them involved the other half of the day. Third one is physical activity.
So the same way it is, yes, for children, we can design and then we can probably even convey it. But how about for senior citizens, sir? How do you think they should have their routine at this point of time?
Yeah, we already know that most of the severe presentations of COVID are happening in elderly population. So they are the ones who need to be absolutely protected.
Yes, sir.
So one is, as compared to children, though their requirement of physical activity may be less, but still they need at least half an hour, 20 minutes of physical activity. What I suggest is, even at home, if there are elders and children, we can devise time separately for them. Say, now you are going to stay in the room, watch some television or watch some online content, and your grandparents are going to move around in the house if you have an independent house, or if you are moving around inside
Yes,
the house.
sir. Yes.
Even in the outside premises, we can set time. Say, between these hours and these hours in the apartment complex, only the elders are going to move around. And
Okay.
you can set time for children to play around, because the tendency of children are to lean back onto their grandparents.
Yes.
So we have to be more cautious and tell them, yes, not that they cannot talk to them, they cannot be as closely physically involved with the elders right now, at least for some time.
Yes. Yes. So thank you so much, sir and ma'am. I would also want to lastly talk to Niriksha. Niriksha, is she there?
Niriksha is here. Niriksha.
Hi, Niriksha.
Happy morning. Happy noon, mom.
Yes, Niriksha. How are you doing?
Fine, mom.
Okay. So tell me, Niriksha, you have both mommy and daddy who are doctors and are treating COVID patients. So what do you feel? What is your experience when you see mommy and daddy?
Mom, when my parents go to duty,
Okay.
I miss them and I'm also proud of them because they're helping so many people.
Okay, that's nice.
I'm also sad because I have to stay away from them for 2 more weeks as they have to be quarantined.
Oh, okay.
I miss spending time with my parents.
Okay. So even when your parents are away, you do your own routine?
Yes, mom.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much, Niriksha.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, and sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Chitrakuta, for giving this opportunity to share our emotions or thoughts or certain tips to be followed during this pandemic. Yes, one thing is I miss them. Being whether I will be in hospital or in quarantine, spending time with the kids is a thing which brings the ultimate happiness to the parents.
Yes,
During
ma'am.
those 21 days, I miss them a lot.
No, ma'am, we really salute all the doctors and not only doctors, all the COVID warriors. You know, it's a great achievement that you're all doing right now. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
Thank you.